Ladies and gentlemen, a woman who knows she is enough does not arrive at that understanding by accident. It's forged through trials, through chaos, and through relentless self-awareness. She begins by confronting herself not with criticism, but with clarity. She dares to examine her flaws, not as marks of failure, but as truths to integrate into her wholeness. Her self-worth is not a fragile construct dependent on applause. It is rooted in an unshakable foundation of self-awareness. And yet, we live in a world that punishes vulnerability. But let me tell you something, radical strength is not the absence of vulnerability, it is the mastery of it. A woman who knows she is enough allows herself to feel, to hurt, and to heal. She doesn't hide her imperfections, she carries them boldly, for they are what make her human. Society loves to impose its chaos, doesn't it? The advertisements, the roles, the impossible ideals, they are relentless. But a woman who knows she is enough does not crumble beneath their weight. She looks chaos in the eye and says, I will not be your victim. She doesn't ignore the world's noise, but transforms it, navigating the pressures with purpose rather than succumbing to them. Comparison is the thief of joy, and a woman who knows she is enough understands this profoundly. She does not waste her energy measuring herself against others because she knows that her worth is not a contest. It is not diminished because another succeeds. No, her value exists in her own becoming and living out her unique purpose. And let's talk about boundaries. How often does society tell women to give until there is nothing left? A woman who knows she is enough recognizes that giving is noble, but not at the expense of her own soul. She knows when to say no and does so with authority. She protects her energy, her time, and her emotional well-being. This isn't selfishness, it is wisdom. Finally, she understands something many miss. Life is not a race to achieve the most, to be the prettiest, or to collect the most praise. It's about the legacy she leaves behind in the hearts of those she loves and the world she shapes with her authenticity. The woman who knows she is enough writes her story with integrity, not for the applause, but for the truth of it. This is not a momentary realization, it is a lifelong journey. But it begins with one choice to stop chasing perfection and start embracing the truth that she, as she is already enough. To say I am enough is to make one of the most profound declarations a person can utter, and at its core lies the concept of self-awareness. For a woman to truly know that she is enough, she must first understand who she is, not in the superficial sense that society often encourages, but in the deeply reflective and honest sense that comes from looking within. This process is neither simple nor comfortable. It is a confrontation with oneself that many avoid, but it is the only path to genuine self-acceptance. Self-awareness is not about indulging in self-pity or self-criticism, nor is it a perpetual focus on one's shortcomings. Rather, it is about balance. It is about standing in front of the metaphorical mirror and seeing the full picture, not just the strengths and triumphs, but also the flaws and failures. This kind of awareness requires courage, because to face oneself without denial or excuse means to take responsibility for both the good and the bad. However, this is precisely where growth begins. A woman who knows she is enough does not ignore her flaws. She examines them, understands them, and decides how they fit into her larger story. This understanding liberates her from the need to be perfect, for she realizes that her worth is not contingent on flawlessness. In the process of self-awareness, there is a quiet but powerful realization. Much of what society values is fleeting and arbitrary. Beauty, status, material wealth, these are transient and external markers, and they can never fully satisfy the human soul. A woman who understands herself deeply knows this. She learns to differentiate between what truly matters to her and what she has been conditioned to value. This clarity allows her to step away from the endless race to meet others' expectations and instead focus on her own unique purpose. Self-awareness also demands honesty about one's desires and needs. Many women are taught to suppress their own voices, to put others first at the expense of their own fulfillment. But a woman who knows she is enough recognizes the importance of speaking her truth. She learns to articulate her needs not in anger or desperation, but with the quiet assurance that comes from knowing her value. This doesn't make her selfish, it makes her authentic. And authenticity, rooted in self-awareness, is one of the most liberating forces in a person's life. Another critical aspect of self-awareness is understanding one's limits. Society often glorifies the idea of having it all, pushing women to excel in every role they undertake: mother, partner, professional friend. This myth is exhausting and impossible. A woman who knows she is enough understands that saying no to certain things is not a failure but a necessity. She recognizes that her energy and time are finite resources and uses them wisely. This self-awareness protects her from burnout and allows her to focus on what truly matters. Through this journey of introspection, a woman becomes intimately familiar with her values. She begins to identify the principles that define her life and guide her decisions. These values serve as a compass, allowing her to navigate the complexities of life with confidence. When she knows what she stands for, she is less likely to be swayed by external pressures or the opinions of others. This alignment with her values creates an inner stability that is unshakable, even in the face of adversity. Finally, self-awareness fosters resilience. A woman who knows she is enough understands that life will bring challenges and setbacks. She does not crumble under their weight because she knows who she is at her core. She is not defined by her failures, just as she is not defined by her successes. Her worth is intrinsic, and this knowledge sustains her through the highs and lows of life. By understanding herself deeply, she equips herself with the tools to weather any storm and emerge stronger on the other side. Self-awareness is not a destination but a continuous process. It is an ongoing dialogue with oneself, requiring patience, effort, and honesty. But it is through this process that a woman learns to embrace her full self, not just the curated version she presents to the world, but the raw, unvarnished truth of who she is. In this truth, she finds her freedom, her power, and her unwavering belief that she is and always will be enough. The notion that vulnerability is strength often runs counter to the messages society imposes. Women, in particular, are frequently told to mask their emotions, to project invincibility, and to avoid revealing anything that might be perceived as weakness. But a woman who truly knows she is enough understands that vulnerability is not a flaw to be hidden. It is an essential aspect of her humanity and her power. To embrace vulnerability is to accept oneself fully, and in doing so, to gain the kind of strength that cannot be easily shaken. When a woman acknowledges her vulnerabilities, she is making a powerful statement. She is refusing to pretend to be something she is not. This authenticity is disarming in a world where so many feel compelled to maintain facades of perfection. Admitting fears, insecurities, or mistakes does not diminish her, it elevates her, because it allows her to connect more deeply with herself and others. Vulnerability is the gateway to genuine relationships, both personal and professional, because it invites others to meet her where she truly is rather than where she feels pressured to be. This openness fosters trust and deepens bonds, and that in itself is a form of strength. Society often equates strength with stoicism, but the reality is that true strength comes from the ability to confront and process emotions rather than suppress them. A woman who knows she is enough does not fear her emotions, whether they are joy, sorrow, anger, or fear. Instead, she allows herself to feel them fully, knowing that they are signals of her inner truth. When sadness washes over her, she does not see it as a failure. She understands it as a natural part of life. When she experiences anger, she does not dismiss it as unworthy or inappropriate, but examines it to uncover the boundaries or values that may have been crossed. Her emotional awareness and willingness to confront what she feels are signs of her resilience and wisdom. The strength in vulnerability also lies in the courage to take risks, to expose one's heart to potential rejection, to speak up in the face of potential criticism, or to attempt something new and uncertain. All require the willingness to be vulnerable. A woman who knows she is enough is not paralyzed by the fear of failure or judgment. She understands that failure is not the opposite of success, but a stepping stone toward growth. Every time she steps out of her comfort zone, she is exercising a strength that is grounded not in the certainty of outcomes, but in her belief in herself. Even when the risk does not yield the desired result, she learns and grows, and that is a victory in itself. Moreover, vulnerability allows a woman to release the impossible burden of perfection. She stops striving to meet unrealistic expectations and instead focuses on what is real and meaningful. By acknowledging that she is not perfect and that no one else is, either she liberates herself from the constant pressure to perform. This does not mean she lowers her standards or stops pursuing excellence. Rather, she pursues it on her own terms with the understanding that her worth is not contingent on flawlessness. She knows that her imperfections make her relatable and human, and that is where her true beauty and power lie. Another aspect of vulnerability is the ability to ask for help when it is needed. A woman who knows she is enough does not equate seeking support with failure. She recognizes that no one can navigate life entirely alone and that leaning on others from time to time is both natural and necessary. Asking for help is a form of strength because it requires humility, self-awareness, and trust. It also allows her to build a community of mutual support where giving and receiving help become acts of shared humanity. Vulnerability also plays a key role in self-compassion. A woman who knows she is enough understands that she cannot be everything to everyone, nor should she try to be. When she stumbles, she does not berate herself, but instead offers herself kindness and understanding. This ability to treat herself with the same care she would extend to a friend is a profound act of strength. It enables her to move forward without carrying the unnecessary weight of shame or self-doubt. Ultimately, vulnerability is not about being weak or overly emotional, it is about being real. A woman who embraces her vulnerability stands as a powerful example of what it means to live authentically. Her willingness to show her true self, imperfections and all, becomes a beacon of strength for herself and others. It is through this raw, unfiltered humanity that she discovers the depth of her courage and the unshakable truth that she is and has always been enough. Navigating the chaos of life is no small feat, especially in a world that seems intent on pulling people in 1,000 directions at once. For a woman to know she is enough, she must learn not only to exist within this chaos, but to confront it with purpose and clarity. Chaos comes in many forms: external pressures, societal expectations, personal struggles, and it can feel overwhelming as though it seeks to consume all sense of self. But a woman who understands her own value does not allow the chaos to define her. Instead, she meets it head on, using it as an opportunity to grow stronger, more focused, and more grounded. Chaos often begins with external pressures. Society has no shortage of demands, especially for women. There are expectations about how to look, how to act, what roles to fulfill, and what goals to pursue. These pressures can create a cacophony of conflicting messages, leaving a woman unsure of which direction to take. But a woman who knows she is enough cuts through this noise. She does not chase after every societal ideal or try to fit into every mold presented to her. Instead, she listens to her own inner voice. She determines her values and priorities and uses them as a compass to navigate the chaos. This clarity does not come easily. It requires deep reflection and self-awareness, but it is essential to maintaining a sense of self in a world that constantly seeks to define her. Personal struggles add another layer to the chaos. Life is unpredictable, and even the most carefully laid plans can be upended by unforeseen challenges. A woman who knows she is enough does not pretend that these struggles don't exist. She acknowledges them fully, recognizing that life's difficulties are a natural part of the human experience. She does not let these challenges overwhelm her sense of identity. Instead, she approaches them with resilience and adaptability. She understands that her worth is not diminished by hardship and that even in the midst of chaos, she has the strength to persevere. One of the most powerful tools she possesses is the ability to set boundaries. Chaos often thrives when boundaries are absent. Whether it's the demands of work, family, or society, there will always be forces seeking to consume more of her time and energy than she can reasonably give. A woman who knows she is enough recognizes this and acts decisively to protect her well-being. She learns to say no when necessary, not out of selfishness, but out of self-respect. She knows that by setting limits, she is not only safeguarding her own peace, but also ensuring that the energy she gives to others is genuine and sustainable. Boundaries are not barriers, they are the framework within which she can thrive. In the face of chaos, focus becomes her ally. A woman who knows she is enough does not waste time or energy on pursuits that do not align with her purpose. She is intentional about where she directs her efforts, knowing that she cannot and does not need to do everything. She prioritizes what matters most to her and lets go of the rest. This focus is not about being rigid or inflexible, it is about being deliberate and mindful. By concentrating on what truly matters, she creates a sense of order within the chaos, giving herself the space to grow and succeed on her own terms. Another key aspect of navigating chaos is the ability to adapt. Life rarely unfolds exactly as planned, and a woman who knows she is enough understands this. She does not cling stubbornly to expectations or resist change out of fear. Instead, she embraces the unknown with courage and curiosity. When faced with unexpected challenges, she does not view them as insurmountable obstacles, but as opportunities to learn and evolve. This adaptability allows her to remain steady even when the ground beneath her seems to shift. Through it all, she maintains an unwavering belief in her own worth. The chaos around her may be loud and relentless, but it does not shake her sense of self. She knows that her value is not determined by her ability to control every aspect of her life or to meet every external demand. Her worth is inherent, and this knowledge becomes her anchor. No matter how turbulent the world may become, she remains grounded in the truth of who she is. In navigating the chaos, a woman who knows she is enough becomes a source of calm and strength not only for herself but for those around her. Her ability to face life's unpredictability with grace and confidence is a testament to her resilience. She understands that chaos is not something to be feared or avoided, but something to be faced and mastered. Through this mastery, she proves to herself and to the world that she is more than capable of thriving in any circumstances, firmly rooted in the truth that she is and will always be enough. Purpose over comparison is one of the most liberating truths a woman who knows she is enough can embrace. The act of comparing oneself to others is an exhausting cycle, fueled by external pressures and internal doubts. It is a trap that robs people of joy and undermines the unique gifts they bring to the world. A woman who knows she is enough understands that her purpose cannot be measured against the accomplishments, appearances, or lives of others. Instead, it is something deeply personal, rooted in her own values, aspirations, and individuality. Comparison often begins early in life as societal expectations and cultural norms teach women to evaluate themselves based on how they stack up against others. This might involve measuring beauty, intelligence, success, or even personal happiness against those of peers, family, or public figures. Yet comparison is a false measure, one that creates an illusion of worthlessness in the face of someone else's perceived strengths. A woman who knows she is enough sees through this illusion. She understands that another person's success or beauty does not diminish her own. Life is not a zero-sum game where one person's gain means another's loss. By rejecting the mindset of comparison, she frees herself to focus on her own journey. Purpose, by contrast, is not a fleeting or superficial pursuit. It is an enduring sense of meaning that transcends external validation. A woman who knows she is enough seeks her purpose by looking inward, not outward. She asks herself the essential questions: what do I value? What do I stand for? What legacy do I want to leave behind? These questions are not always easy to answer, but the search for their answers leads her to a life of greater fulfillment. Purpose is not about achieving a particular status or accumulating accolades. It is about living in alignment with her deepest values and contributing to the world in a way that feels authentic to her. The process of living with purpose requires courage, as it often means walking a path that is different from what others might expect or approve of. A woman who knows she is enough is not afraid to deviate from the norm if it means staying true to herself. She does not measure her progress by how quickly she reaches certain milestones or how her life compares to others' timelines. Instead, she defines her success by the integrity with which she pursues her goals and the impact she has on the people and causes she cares about. This freedom from comparison allows her to celebrate others' achievements without feeling threatened or diminished. She understands that everyone is on their own unique journey, and her role is to honor her own path. Purpose over comparison also means embracing the idea that life is a marathon, not a sprint. In a world that often glorifies instant success, a woman who knows she is enough values persistence and patience. She understands that true fulfillment comes not from chasing after short-term recognition, but from committing to long-term growth and contribution. This perspective allows her to remain focused even when progress seems slow or obstacles arise. She is not discouraged by setbacks because she knows they are a natural part of the process. Every step, no matter how small, is a step toward her greater purpose. Comparison, by its nature, is rooted in scarcity, the idea that there is not enough success, beauty, love, or opportunity to go around. But a woman who knows she is enough rejects this scarcity mindset. She operates from a place of abundance, believing that there is plenty of room for everyone to thrive. This belief allows her to collaborate rather than compete, to support rather than envy, and to uplift rather than tear down. Her purpose is not diminished by the success of others. On the contrary, it is enriched by the connections and shared experiences she creates along the way. In living with purpose, she also learns to focus on what she can control and let go of what she cannot. Comparison often arises from a fixation on external factors, others' opinions, circumstances beyond her influence, or societal standards. A woman who knows she is enough shifts her energy toward what truly matters: her actions, her intentions, and her growth. This shift empowers her to take ownership of her life and to move forward with clarity and confidence, no matter what external forces may try to dictate. Ultimately, choosing purpose over comparison is a radical act of self-liberation. It allows a woman to fully embrace her individuality and to find joy in her own path, free from the burden of constantly measuring up to others. In rejecting comparison, she does not settle for less. She claims something far greater: a life lived with meaning, authenticity, and the profound understanding that she is and has always been enough. Power in boundaries is a concept that a woman who knows she is enough embraces wholeheartedly. Boundaries are often misunderstood as barriers, as though setting limits is a selfish or defensive act. In reality, boundaries are essential acts of self-respect and self-preservation. They allow a woman to protect her time, energy, and emotional well-being while fostering healthier relationships with others. A woman who knows she is enough recognizes that boundaries are not about shutting people out, but about creating the necessary space to live authentically and with purpose. Setting boundaries requires a deep understanding of one's own needs, values, and limitations. A woman who understands her worth takes the time to reflect on what she can realistically give without compromising herself. This self-awareness is key because it allows her to differentiate between what she genuinely wants to do and what she feels pressured to do. She learns to identify when she is overextending herself and when she is taking on responsibilities that do not align with her values. In doing so, she gains clarity about where her energy is best directed and where she must draw the line. Boundaries are not just about saying no, they are also about saying yes, but only to the things that truly matter. A woman who knows she is enough does not feel obligated to please everyone or meet every demand placed upon her. She understands that her worth is not tied to how much she can give or how many roles she can fill. This knowledge liberates her from the guilt that often accompanies the act of setting limits. Instead of viewing boundaries as a rejection of others, she sees them as an affirmation of her own needs and priorities. Saying no becomes an act of self-care, while saying yes becomes an intentional choice rather than an automatic response. Boundaries also play a critical role in relationships. A woman who knows she is enough sets clear and respectful boundaries with the people in her life, ensuring that her relationships are built on mutual respect rather than obligation or imbalance. She does not tolerate disrespect, manipulation, or behavior that undermines her sense of self. By setting these limits, she establishes a standard for how she expects to be treated. This is not about controlling others, it is about communicating her own needs and ensuring that her relationships are healthy and fulfilling. Boundaries become a way of fostering deeper, more authentic connections because they create an environment where both parties can thrive. One of the most challenging aspects of boundaries is enforcing them, especially in a world that often rewards self-sacrifice and discourages assertiveness. A woman who knows she is enough does not waver in the face of resistance or guilt. She understands that maintaining her boundaries is not always easy, but is always necessary. When others push back or attempt to cross her limits, she stands firm, not out of stubbornness, but out of respect for herself. This steadfastness is a form of strength, as it demonstrates her commitment to honoring her own needs even when it is uncomfortable. Another powerful aspect of boundaries is their ability to create balance. Life is full of competing demands: work, family, friendships, personal growth, and without boundaries, it is easy to become overwhelmed. A woman who knows she is enough uses boundaries to create harmony in her life. She prioritizes her well-being alongside her responsibilities, recognizing that she cannot pour from an empty cup. By protecting her time and energy, she ensures that she can show up fully for the things that matter most to her. This balance allows her to approach life with greater focus, intention, and joy. Boundaries also empower her to release what no longer serves her. A woman who knows she is enough does not cling to relationships, roles, or commitments that drain her energy or compromise her values. She understands that letting go is not a sign of weakness, but a necessary step toward growth. By walking away from what no longer aligns with her, she creates space for new opportunities and connections that resonate with her purpose. This act of release is an affirmation of her own worth and a declaration that she will not settle for less than she deserves. Ultimately, the power of boundaries lies in the freedom they provide. A woman who knows she is enough is not weighed down by the expectations of others or the need to prove herself. She lives with a sense of clarity and peace, knowing that her choices reflect her true self. Boundaries are not a rejection of others, they are a profound embrace of herself. Through them, she cultivates a life that is authentic, balanced, and deeply fulfilling, grounded in the unwavering truth that she is and always will be enough. Self-compassion is one of the most powerful tools a woman who knows she is enough can use in her life. It is a practice that allows her to extend kindness and understanding to herself, especially during times of failure, disappointment, or struggle. In a world that often teaches women to be their own harshest critics, self-compassion provides an antidote to the perfectionist ideals that can be so debilitating. Rather than perpetuating feelings of guilt or inadequacy, self-compassion nurtures the belief that she is deserving of love and care, regardless of her perceived flaws or mistakes. The first step in practicing self-compassion is recognizing that it is not the same as self-pity. Self-pity involves wallowing in a sense of victimhood and feeling sorry for oneself in a way that isolates and disempowers. Self-compassion, on the other hand, involves acknowledging pain and difficulty without judgment and responding to it with the same kindness and support that one would offer to a dear friend. A woman who knows she is enough does not berate herself for experiencing hardship. Instead, she offers herself grace, recognizing that it is part of the human experience to face challenges and moments of vulnerability. By embracing these moments with compassion rather than criticism, she creates space for healing and growth. Self-compassion also means treating oneself with understanding when things go wrong, rather than internalizing blame or shame. It's easy for anyone to fall into the trap of thinking they are a failure when things don't go according to plan, but a woman who knows she is enough refuses to define herself by her setbacks. She knows that mistakes are an inevitable part of life and that no one is perfect. When she stumbles, she doesn't fall into a spiral of self-doubt. Instead, she acknowledges the mistake, learns from it, and moves forward with the knowledge that one misstep does not determine her worth. This attitude of self-compassion allows her to take risks, try new things, and embrace life fully without the fear of failure holding her back. In practicing self-compassion, she also learns to recognize and challenge negative self-talk. So often, women internalize societal messages that tell them they must always strive for perfection or be constantly accommodating to others. These messages create a narrative of inadequacy, where a woman feels as though she is never enough as she is. A woman who knows she is enough begins to identify these negative thoughts when they arise and gently counters them with positive affirmations and loving self-talk. Rather than focusing on her shortcomings, she shifts her attention to her strengths, qualities, and achievements, no matter how small they may seem. This shift in perspective is transformative because it changes the way she sees herself, moving from a place of self-criticism to self-acceptance and self-love. Self-compassion also involves honoring her emotional needs. A woman who knows she is enough understands that she is not immune to the difficulties of life, and that emotional well-being requires care and attention. She is not afraid to acknowledge when she is feeling overwhelmed, sad, or anxious. Rather than suppressing these emotions, she allows herself to feel them fully, offering herself the same care and patience that she would extend to others in similar situations. She knows that her emotions are valid, and she does not need to justify or hide them in order to be worthy of compassion. This practice of emotional acceptance creates a sense of peace as it removes the shame often attached to experiencing negative emotions. Furthermore, self-compassion means letting go of unrealistic expectations. Society often places immense pressure on women to be everything to everyone: the perfect partner, the ideal mother, the successful professional, and the always positive friend. A woman who knows she is enough recognizes that she cannot meet every expectation or fulfill every role perfectly. Instead of striving for unattainable ideals, she sets realistic goals and embraces the imperfections that make her human. She understands that she does not need to prove her worth to anyone, and that her value is inherent, regardless of whether she meets external standards or not. This freedom from unrealistic expectations allows her to live a life that is more peaceful, fulfilling, and aligned with her true self. An important aspect of self-compassion is the ability to forgive oneself. This is especially crucial when it comes to past mistakes, regrets, or perceived failures. Holding on to guilt or shame only serves to keep her stuck in the past and prevents her from moving forward. A woman who knows she is enough understands that forgiveness is not about excusing mistakes, but about releasing the emotional burden they carry. She recognizes that holding on to past errors only weighs her down and robs her of the energy needed to grow and evolve. By practicing self-forgiveness, she gives herself the freedom to step into the future with a sense of peace and possibility. Finally, self-compassion is an ongoing practice, not a one-time act. It is a journey that requires patience and consistency, especially in a world that constantly pushes women to be perfect and perform. A woman who knows she is enough nurtures this practice daily, allowing it to guide her through both the triumphs and the trials of life. She builds a strong foundation of self-love and care, creating a resilient inner strength that helps her navigate the ups and downs of life with grace. In doing so, she embraces the beautiful truth that she is always enough, no matter the circumstances, and she deserves the same love, understanding, and compassion she so freely gives to others. In conclusion, the woman who knows she is enough stands as a testament to the power of self-awareness, strength, and resilience. She understands that her value is inherent, not determined by external achievements, comparisons, or the judgments of others. She navigates the chaos of life with clarity, purpose, and adaptability, embracing the challenges she faces as opportunities for growth. She sets boundaries that protect her energy and well-being, ensuring that she can show up fully for herself and others. Above all, she practices self-compassion, offering herself the same kindness and understanding that she extends to others, knowing that her imperfections are part of what makes her whole. By choosing to live authentically and aligned with her values, she creates a life of meaning, fulfillment, and peace. A woman who knows she is enough doesn't just survive the complexities of life, she thrives within them, proving that she is, and always has been, more than enough.